Hello. Okay, so this is a different video than the one I was going to originally put up, but I figured since it was January and people still have time to catch up with this project and it can be a fun one, we can check in with all year. I figured it was time to do a project I've been putting off for a while. Temperature blankets. Now, I said I was going to be doing some more crochet type videos, and this is a crochet one. So this is the project we are going to be working on. This is a granny square temperature blanket, which I haven't, there's probably tutorials out there, but I hadn't seen one and I wanted one that was nice and easy. So this is a standard granny square pattern that we're going to be using. We're going to turn it after each row. This is the colour. Now mine is just 7 colours. You can use any 7 colours you want if you're following along with this. Now the temperatures I've set are applicable to Scotland and England in Celsius. Obviously you might want to change those up a little bit. I know a lot of you guys are watching from the States. In which case I was like, I wonder what the average temperatures are. And I think I looked at Texas. So like, yeah, if you're living somewhere like that, maybe just start the first colour as like under 10 degrees Celsius rather than under 0 degrees like I've had to. The pattern itself, it's kind of a clipped corner rectangle. This year is a really good year to do it because it's a leap year. So we have 366 squares. Normally this pattern would require you to do a little kind of like sample granny square as well, which you could either, you know, do a completely different colour, put a little motif on it, find a way to combine all the colours together. When we get to the end of the year, I'm going to do kind of a wind-up video on this, and I might, if I've got enough yarn left, we might do some, I might do some example ones then. But yeah, it can be anything, that extra little square. So if you're watching this from the future, yeah, like any random colour you want or combination of all the colours. Maybe the average colour for the whole year. Maybe you could embroider the actual year date on it. But yeah, there's lots you can do on that bit. So in order to do this, I am working in DK with a DK weight yarn with a 8mm hook. This does give you quite a lacy, like lightweight finish. Here are some squares I've already made up. You can see this is, each one of these represents a day. Like I say, I'm also playing catch up on this because I didn't start this until a little bit into January. If you need to look up temperatures, there are websites where you can literally just Google what was the temperature on this date in this place. If you put that into Google, it'll spit it out. There is one good website that I found that I can't remember the name of while I'm filming. I will link it in my comments. Yeah, so I'm also I've started keeping little notebooks like this because I hate typing up patterns, but I quite like writing them out like this. So I will put a PDF of this with a few additional notes and pictures on the Patreon, which I'll link to somewhere in the notes, the description. I'll put that up within about a week of this video going up. Not all of the tutorial videos I've done have matching patterns on Patreon. Some of them I said I was going to do, but some unfortunate events happened, which is why I've also been away from doing these tutorials for a few years, and meant they kind of got left behind. We might catch up with them at some point, but this one, because I have it already written out, I will do. Okay, so what we're going to need is, we're going to need some DK yarn. We're going to need some DK yarn. We're going to need a 8mm crochet hook. We're going to need a darning needle. We're going to need some scissors. Now, in terms of yarn, I've had to guess a bit because this is the first time I've made this. I have a single 100-gram ball of yarn for 4 of the colours, and for the 3 that sit in the middle, which I feel are going to be the peach, green and yellow, the most kind of commonly used, I've got 2 balls. We may have to kind of go back to the wool shop at some point, begging and hoping they have a batch number or that it matches close enough. That's a good thing with these types of blankets. Even if it's a different batch number and it's slightly off, you probably won't notice. It'll be fine. Okay, so granny squares. I feel like doing a granny square tutorial is a bit redundant at this point because literally there's a million of them. But I am going to take it through stage by stage the way I do with all the tutorial videos. And go from there. So to start off, I'm going to leave this open in the background actually so you can see the pattern, because I prefer crochet diagrams to written ones, and if you're not familiar with them. So as you can see, we've got a circle. I'm going to use the needle to point with. So we've got a circle of 6 loops there. So that's the first bit we're going to do. And then we're going to loop up 3, and then these are, right, I'm going to call these double crochets. Some of you will call them triple crochets. Or you probably won't if you're new to crocheting, that's why you're watching this. But they get called, it used to be a UK-USA divide on whether they were double crochets or triple crochets. But now, because a lot of people learn online from a lot of different people, it's kind of just become all mixed up. I've always called them doubles. That's what I'm going to be calling them throughout this. So yeah, as you can see, it's basically 3 rings that we're making. Each time we complete one, we jump up. So each of the little circles is what we call a chain stitch. Each of these staves here is what we call a double crochet, and I haven't actually drawn them on here. A lot of people put little dots. I haven't. I might add them later. For what we call a slip stitch, which is where you're literally just kind of connecting up 2 dots, where you're just connecting up 2 stitches without really adding anything to the piece. You're just kind of putting them together. So let me just grab some yarn and we will make a start. Okay, so we're going to start by doing just a little slip stitch. Oh God, I've been away from crafting too long. I haven't been away from videos too long, but yeah, there we go. Doesn't have to be any particular way, as long as you've got a loop tied around the hook, we're all good. And you don't need a great amount of length on here either. It's fine there. So as I said, we want to start with 6 loops. That was what was in our little picture. So we've already got 1 on there. So then we're just going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then when I said the little slip stitches that weren't marked, this is the first one. So what we're going to do is we're just going to stabby this through. So we're going back through the first loop that we made. There we go. So it looks like you've got 2 bits on one side and 1 on the other. That's fine. That's how crochet stitches are kind of constructed. I'm going to grab our yarn and pull it through both of them. So we're here. Now at this point, what you're going to want to do is find the center. You've just made a little loop of stitches and you're going to want to find the middle of them. There we go. You might have to pull it a little bit to find it, but there we go. So just open it up. That's the middle. So we've got a ring of those 6. Now, as you can see, in order to construct our first little nugget, our first little block of stitches, what we're going to want to do is first chain. So we need to build the first part of it because it's 3. So we need to put 3 little loops here. So we've already got 1. I'm going to go 2, 3. Now we're going to do our first double crochet. So to do that, what we do is, well, we've got the center. We're going to first of all wrap the yarn around. We're then going to go down through the center of this little yarn donut we made. We're going to grab it and pull it through. So we have 3 loops on. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to grab the yarn and pull it through the first 2. And we're going to pull it through the last 2. And that is a double crochet. So just to show you again, I'm going to go wrap it through the gap, grab it, 3 on, pull it through the first two, and pull it through the second two. Now that is our first little, that's our first little nugget there. Now what we need to do is turn a corner. So we need to come to this side. So we need to come here. So in order to do that, I need to chain 3. I'm sorry if this wobbles a little bit. I'm on a different setup to what I used to use. It's still being perfected. So yeah, so we need to chain 3. So we have, I'm not going to count that one. We need to put 3 new ones on. So 1, 2, 3. And that's allowed us to turn this corner. And now into here, we need to put another 3 stitches. So we're going to do them as the double crochet as well. So round, through, grab, through the first 2, through the second 2. And don't worry if you have to go slowly, if you just start now with crochet. It gets faster, and so does your tension. Don't worry if your tension's off. If you finish your first granny square and it looks a little bit all over the place, put it down, leave it for a couple of hours, stretch it out. It'll get its life together. It's fine. So we once again need to turn a corner. So 3 little loops. And we're back here. So wrap through the hole, grab it. Now at this point, this one can feel like it's wandering off. So if you grab the base, then just hold it in place. It's a bit easier. Pull through the first 2, through the second 2. And again, we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to wrap it down through the hole, grab it, pull it through. First 2, second 2. And then the last one on this side. Through, grab it. Got 3 there. Through the first 2, through the second. Another little nugget. And now we need again, once again, turn the corner. So 3. And put our last ones in here. So we've turned the corner, wrap it, grab it, pull it through the first 2, through the second 2, wrap it, grab it, pull it through, first 2, second 2, and the last one. And now we just need to turn the corner to get back to the start, to finish the first little round. So we're going to do our 3 to turn the corner. And now we need to come back into here. So what I want to do is just pull this a little bit, just kind of stretch out those. And you want to look on the top and you want to find the first kind of 2 little strands that form that top loop, and you're just going to grab them. So you're just going to come in here, get hold of them like that, and you're going to pull it all the way through like there. And there we have the first little nugget. We have the first little round, sorry, move it there we go. So we have the first little square bit. So if we go back to the diagram, what we have there is this bit, just this bit in the center. We're now going to add this bit on. Okay, so to do that, we have, I'm going to start by chaining. We need 3 little chains up. Well, no, sorry, we're not. The first thing we're going to do is turn it. So we're going to spin it over. So now we need to put a little nugget in here. So the first way to do that, sorry there. So the first way to do that is, as you can see, we've got one loop on. We need 3, so we've got 1 there. We're going to go 2, 3, and now that's 1. So we need 3 to make a nugget. So we're going to do another 2, as we normally do, with the double crochet stitch. And now, as you can see, because we're going this way, we need to turn a corner. Exactly the same as last time. 3 little loops all together. And then we need a new little nugget on here, on this bit. So we're just going to do that there. Last one, pull it through. 2 together, 2 together. Now, this is something we're going to encounter for the first time on this piece, because as you can see, we have all of our little things together. What we need to do is jump across a nugget. So, we've got a corner. We need to get from this space to this space, but we do that with just 1 single chain. So we do is we literally just chain 1. There we go. And then we just go straight into this one with the double crochets. So three of them. But now we're back at a corner, straight back into a corner. So we deal with that the same way we've done with all of them. 3 little loops. There we go. Get some more yarn. Try not to send balls of wool skittering everywhere. Okay. I say wool. I am using acrylic. I always work in acrylic. Don't get wool snobs. I like to be able to throw my projects in the washing machine. So I'm going around the corner, putting another little nugget in. And once again, we find ourselves needing to jump across to the next space, which we do by literally just chaining 1. We go straight into it. Oh, not through all 3, just through the first 2. There we go. Well, once again at a corner that we need to turn. So again, we just do a little chain of 3. There we go. And then we go into a new bit. Not into a new bit, sorry, in the same gap, but onto a new nugget. And start by doing a 3. Just keep going with it. Ah! Now, if this happens, don't panic, all right? As you can see, my hooks came off. I've got 2 just floating. Now, I know if you're used to knitting, this would be a point you would panic. What we're going to do is gently pull. Don't worry, it's fine. Till we get to here. So we've got 1 double crochet in the loop on top, and then we're just going to go back in, and we're just going to start that stitch over again. Okay, so we're going to go in and through and down. There we go, and 1 more. There we go. And now again, we need to get to the other corner. We need to get to the other gap. So to get across and span the gap, we just do 1 little chain. And then we put another one in here. Two. Three. And then again, we need to turn a corner. Go around here. So 3 chain. And then last nugget on this section needs to go in here. So again, just 3 of those double crochets. Again, I'm just pinching the bottom to hold that one in place. There we go. Oop. Now, as you can see, we're nearly done. But what I need to do is I need to close those 2 up. Don't forget to do your chain that jumps the gap. So we do that little chain there, and then we slip stitch. So then we, once again, I'm going to pull this a little bit. I'm going to find the loop on the top, the 2 little ones that make up the first stitch there. And I'm going to pull this straight through both of them. Now, I'll pop this down. There we go. If I just stretch this out a little bit. Okay, so now you can see, come back to here, we've done the second one around. Now we just need to do the third one. Okay, so again, we're going to start just by turning our piece over. Now, as you can see, we've got 3 gaps to work into this time, so it's going to be 3 nuggets. So we've got here, here, and each of the corners. As you do this, just remember we put a little gap, a little 1 chain in every time to jump the gaps. So like I say, we've already got 1 on. So we've got 1 on, we need 3 to start. So we've got 1, 2, 3. And then we just go in with those double crochets to make up the other 2 that form the first nugget. Someone's going to be like, why are you calling them nuggets? People call them all kinds of things. I like nugget. Okay, so here we go. Now we need to jump to the next gap. So 1 chain. You jump, and then we're just in with the single crochet, the double crochets, not singles, Lily. So 3 of them to make up the next little nuggety nugget. And then at this, oh, I nearly did it again. At this point, we're at the corner. So we turn the corner the same as we have all of them. 3 chains. And then little nugget. So, oh, there we go. And the second one. And the third one. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to jump to the next gap, and we jump to the next gap by one little chain, and we go. And the last one, well, you know, the last one of this little bit, last one of this. I'm really conscious of how often I'm saying nugget now. Okay, so, and we need to get to the corner, so we need to jump this gap, and we're going to do that the same way as we have with all the others. I'm aware the lighting is getting worse as the sun is moving, but you know, we're just, bear with me, just work through it. I'll see if I can fix it in post. If I can't, I'm sorry. Okay. So we're now at the corner. We need a little nugget in here. So we've done the chain, a jump to get to it. And we're just doing these the same way as we always do. There we go. We're at the corner. We do the 3. We do this 3 to get around it. We're on to a new side. Stop moving. We're on to a new side. You put one here, and one here. So go in the first gap, which is right on that corner, and we grab these. And these. That's 3. We jump to the next gap by doing that little chain. So we then jump in and do another 3 double crochets in the center gap. There we go. And then we got to get in the end one. So once again we do a single little do a single chain to jump across to the gap. First nugget goes in. 1. Keep pulling too far through. Sorry, I'll stop randomly screaming at you as I crochet. 1. 2. 3. Now, as you can see, we need to turn corner. So we're going to do that same way as we have all the others. 3 little chains. And now we start on these gaps. So we put our first set of 3 doubles into the corner. Is the lighting actually improving now the sun's moving more? I know, ring lights. I'll sort it out. I will at some point set up a better filming setup, but you know, we'll get there. So that's our 3 double crochets done. First nugget, need to jump to the middle gap. So again, just do a single chain to jump across to it, and then 3 double crochets in. There we go. 2 and another 1, 3. So there we have. And then we need to pop one in the corner. So again, to get to the corner gap, we're just gonna chain 1 and then into it. There we go. The nice thing is, you know, if you're doing this, I don't know, if you wait till the weekend and you do the 7 for the week in one go, or if you do, you know, one every day, you build this project a little bit at a time, so you can really kind of take your time with it. You know, you don't need to worry about a blanket. Can be a big project, so doing a project like this where you know you're going to give yourself a year to do it, it's just nice to give yourself that space. Now we're nearly there. We just need to turn the corner and put our last nugget in. So 1, 2, 3, and then our last lot of 3 double crochets, in, and we need to close the gap to get to this one, so we're going to do that with a single chain, and then we need to join it all together. So once again, we're going to just pull this a little bit. We're going to get our top loop, pull through and pull through. Now at this point, we've got the whole little square. Let me just move this. There we go. There we go. So to tie this off, now I want to leave my tails long enough to use them to stitch this together. So I'm just going to make sure I've got a little bit of length left. Should be enough. And then where I've got this hoop here, I'm simply just going to pull that through. Woo, pull that through, and then pull this tight. And that is my granny square. Now, the next question comes, how do we connect these all up? Well, let's go to our chart. So we've got our granny square, and we've come to this bit. So as you can see, this pattern is we have a row of 9, a row of 11, a row of 13, and then we have 20 rows of 15, and then we have a row of 13, a row of 11, and a row of 9. So we're starting here, and I'm doing the date like this, like you would read a book. You could do the whole thing this way if you wanted. It's up to you. But yeah, I'm doing them like this. So we need to start on day 1, and I need to check my notes and remember what the temperature was that day. So give me a second, I will return. Okay, so I've got our first 9 kind of laid out here. I'm just going to move them to one side. So all we do to stitch these together is basically, you know, yeah, just stitch them together. So I'm just going to make sure, just going to put them up against each other like that. And this is really as simple as taking one of the ends, darning needle, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to literally, first off, I want to start at this corner. So on the one that I have, I'm just going to loosely run the needle down and through that top row of stitches to get it to that corner, and then pull it out. So I'm starting there, and this will all get worked in, so it's fine. And then I'm going to go here, and literally I'm just going to whip stitch. So I'm literally just catching one half of those little V's, those little stitches, and I'm just coming through and working my way around. Put that more central, there we go. Now there's lots of different ways you can stitch projects together. So if there's a way, you know, if you're like, oh, I'd rather crochet them together, or, you know, if you've got a few more crochet skills. I always try and pitch these at absolute beginners and make it as simple as possible, because no one wants to spend forever studying and learning 100 new things before they can just make a project. Like, it's more fun to just make the project. So we're keeping this very simple. But if you have another way you prefer to attach them, then you do it that way. That's cool. Okay. Oh. Let me get this done. I'm just going to join the two on the chain. There we go. Now I get here, I'm just tying this. Do that with my crochet hook. Sometimes that's easier. Oh, I'm tying it, and I can trim that or work that back through by just running it back down. And basically, yeah, so the first row, if you like, on our pattern is a row of 9, and then it connects together kind of like a little brick wall almost, down to the next row of 11. So let me go and attach some more, and you can kind of get a feel for what this will start to look like. Okay, excuse the shaky camera at work, because I am just holding this now. But here, so I've just been stitching together. So this is I've bent it around so I can get it all in frame. But that's the whole first row. And then this is the start of the second row. So we've done this whole row in the first few of this row. And yeah, it's just a case of keep going for the rest of the year at this point. So like I say, I will try and get some of this. I'll try and get this as a PDF with a few extra notes online this week. And yeah, have a go at it. I'll post updates on how it's going through the year as well.